Hey everybody. I'm going to give everyone a little bit to get in here and get connected. But thanks for joining me on this live stream. Need to ask you guys real quick, how does my microphone sound? I've got a fan going in the background and I am very hot outside right now, so I wanted to make sure that I'm not cooking. Awesome. Glad that sounds good. It's getting pretty hot here in Charlotte. Let's switch to the live stream. Hey everybody. Thanks for joining. Yeah, it's getting pretty hot here in Charlotte. I think the high today is like 95 Fahrenheit. I don't know, I think that's like 33 Celsius. It's hot. So, let a few more people get in here. Don't want anyone to miss the live drawing who has entered in. What's everybody working on these days? What's going on? Right, got a few people in here. Looks like we're up to 23 people. Pretty good. I guess some people want to see want to win a supercharger, huh? Josh, congrats on getting the engine back in. Tomas, very exciting, new muffler. Did you end up going with a Maniflow setup? Are you happy with it? Hey Alex, how's it going? See you popped over from Facebook. I hope you found a wiring loom. Mini Tom, welcome. Working on not hurting myself or others during the lockdown. Turns out it's harder than the bottom hose on a Mini. Yeah. Sean, not working on anything per se, but my handbrake feels warm when driving, so I think I'll need to adjust that. Okay, alright. New tires fitted. Next update on the Supercharger. I am planning on having that out here relatively soon. I'm going to spend some time today filming. I want to get some good driving shots. I need to experiment and figure out how to get the best sound so you guys can really hear the Supercharger. So that'll be some experimentation, but I want to spend some time so you guys can really enjoy the sound of the Supercharger. Replacing the rag top on the sports pack. Okay, sport pack, nice. Mini Man Shed, welcome. Luke, loving the build. Thanks, man. Thanks for joining. Well, I think we've got a good bit of people here. Maybe just wait one more minute. We'll kick off the drawing. Ante, hi from Croatia. Hey, thanks for joining. So I'm thinking after we do the live draw and everything and we give away, or at least we pick the person who's going to get the Supercharger, I am going to do a little Q&A. If you guys are wanting to hang around and ask some questions, we can keep that going. If not, that's cool too. I got plenty of filming I can do for you guys, so we'll just see how it goes. Let's see here. Sean, sure, I will give you a quick tour of the workshop to drag this out a little bit. There's not too much on the other side. The other side is all my wife's stuff, so she's got like a big miter saw, and then all of her woodworking stuff is over there. She is definitely the skilled woodworker. I am the mechanic. So, as you can see, things are not that different than they have been. All of my primary tools are up on the wall there. Toolbox is over here. One thing I did change recently is on this side over here, ignore the microphone. Over here, I completely organized all of my bolts, nuts. I have spare of every nut and bolt that you could possibly need on the Mini so that I don't have to constantly run to the parts store. Pretty exciting stuff. And then this side, this is going to be an upcoming video here. This is an MED lightweight alternator, 60 amp. Looking forward to installing this. I need it for a little bit more room for a front mount radiator on the Mini, which I'll explain all that in the future here. Let's see. 998 Garage, any tips on starting a YouTube channel? Plus my engine is over 100 miles from the car. Why is it so far away? Starting a YouTube channel, do what you enjoy. You know, a lot of people say consistency, uploading frequently. There's all these different best ways to get into YouTube. But what I would say is when I started this channel, I only made videos when I had something to talk about or when I had something I wanted to show. So I didn't, you know, I didn't just churn out videos just for the sake of having updates, things like that. I think people do have some success with that, but what ended up being really beneficial is spending more time on individual videos, whether they're longer or better quality, rather than spending a short amount of time and uploading frequently. That's my personal way of doing it, but other folks, you know, approach it differently. Mini Tom, I think that there are plenty videos of me pulling the motor at this point. Not into that again. Let's see. Answer a few more questions here. K&N filter with original exhaust, 3-inch Sportex muffler, not too quiet. Yeah, I'd say that's probably pretty loud. Michael, I do have a few videos of doing brakes, replacing discs, replacing drums with discs in the front, shoes. Just search through my channel, search brakes on my channel, and you'll find lots of stuff. All right. William, thanks for joining. Good to see you. Classic Mini Detailing. Hi Cole, do you need my address to send it to me? Mr. Toon, you would have had to enter for you to win it. Alright, so, how deep south are you, Cole? Oh man, Alex, you're killing me. You're killing me, man. Well, I'm in North Carolina, but technically the south. Not that south. Deep south, I think, would be more considered like rural South Carolina or into Georgia, Mississippi. That's deep south. Sean, do you have any experience with car lifts, considering a small scissor lift as an option, but not sure? So, I have been thinking about this a lot. I am either going to get a set of the smallest quick jacks that they sell, the portable ones. I think you've probably seen them on B is for Build or other channels like that. Or wait, and when I put my garage in, when I enclose my carport, I think I might get 2 flat pack scissor lifts, you know, the ones that have a long flat pad on them, and recess them into the concrete. So when there's nothing lifted up, the concrete and the floor is perfectly level. But then when I want to lift the car, I drive it over that, and then those come out of the floor and lift it up. I think that's what I am going to be doing. Luke, what brakes am I running? I'm running a set of 7.5-inch Mini Sport discs. They're drilled, so they got little holes in them, and they're perfect. I'm very, very happy with those. I had a set of those on the car previously, and I damaged them while I was repainting them, unfortunately. Whoops. So I ended up getting a new set. Mom, thanks for joining. Good to see you and Dad here. Mini Tom, do you live next door to Trump? No. No. Andrew Price, hello from South Africa. Good to see you. Tomas, Quebec, Canada here. Awesome. Oh, and happy 4th of July. Thank you. Okay. So we'll do more questions in a little bit. I think it's time. We're gonna draw this. So, can you guys see the VMAX Supercharger giveaway screen here? I've got this prepped and ready to go. I'm excited. I have not picked anyone live like this in a little while. Most of the time I pick, and then I contact them, and then I do the drawing kind of live on the channel. So this is me figuring out for the first time and you guys figuring out for the first time who's going to be the winner. So here we go. Loading all the winners. Well, potential winners. Everybody can't win, unfortunately. Okay. So, number 1251. This was supposed to give you guys a name, but if someone ordered something and didn't give me their name in the field, this surprises happen. So, let me switch back to our live stream here, and let me go see who order 1251 was. I don't want to share this with everybody because it has some personal information on it. How awkward. See, this is the result of doing things live. Sometimes this happens. Okay, so pulling it up here, confirming this is associated with a real person. Are you guys ready? The winner of the Supercharger is Christopher Meade in, let's see here, Huntington, United Kingdom. North Carolina in my brain here. So Christopher Meade, are you in the live chat right now? Is he live? Is he here? Yes, I am so glad you are here, Chris. This is so exciting. Yes, you are the winner of the Supercharger. So I will be in contact with you here very, very soon. But it looks like you are going to be supercharging a Mini here very soon, hopefully. So Chris, tell us a little bit about your Mini, if you've got one. You know, maybe you don't have one right now. We'd love to hear what kind of Mini this Supercharger is going to go on. And keep in mind, Chris, this means that once you get the Supercharger and once you get it installed, we are going to have to do an update video once it's all installed and everything. No pressure, no rush. But I know that everybody who entered into this would be really excited to see it once it's completed. Has he been struck mute by his excitement? There we go. Awesome, I'm so excited. 1977 Mini 1000 with a Metro engine. Awesome. So a lot of people put these on 998s and 1000cc Minis, and they are awesome on those cars. The cool thing about 998s and that displacement with a Supercharger is you can get above 1275 power, and the power dynamic is much different. So, you know, you will have absolutely no problem keeping up with some of the 1275s that are out there and beyond. Man, I'm so excited for you. Are you going to install it on that 1977, or do you think you're going to build a new engine? Any ideas? While he gets his bearings and everything, what other questions do you guys have for me? We can keep this chat going for a little while if you guys want, and discuss Mini stuff, life stuff, whatever. You know, no agenda here. Man, I'm so excited for Chris. I think there might be a small delay on my live stream chat, so. Oh no, everything's okay. Cool. We'll definitely go on that Mini, which is great. Oh, it's your first car? Man, that's an exciting first car to have. And then go for a 1293 A+. Sweet. I think that's a great idea. That's close to what we've got over here sitting in my carport. 1293 A- as I call them. Standard A series, not an A+. But 1293 with that supercharger is going to be good. Very excited for you. All right. Well, that was an exciting thing. I think I want to do more of these giveaways live. This was cool. Next time I'm going to have to figure out why it didn't display the name there, though. So, what's everybody got? You have any questions you need answered about your minis? Anything not working? You know, want some guidance on something? Yeah, I'm open. I'm here. Jasper says, is there a big difference between a double timing chain and a double lightened timing chain? So you're going to get the most lightness out of the gears rather than the chain itself. The chains are all pretty light in general. The lightness of them is not a huge performance sap if you have like a really heavy one, heavy standard stock one. The best thing to do, depending on your setup, is if you've got like a 998, 1100, below that, I would just stick with a standard simplex gear set. Duplex is not really required, and I would argue that even in 1275 setups and larger, you don't really need a 12 or a duplex setup. Just a strong IWIS chain is going to do wonders for the timing setup. That said, if you are hankering to change it out, MED sells some pretty cool adjustable ones that'll allow you to kind of degree the cam more easily. So yeah, Mini Performance, thanks for joining. You missed the drawing, but we have a winner. Christopher Mead says, we'll also love to see a walk around of yours now it's done, especially an engine bay tour. Yes, so I have all of that planned. Next video is going to be driving. It's going to be simple. It's going to be it's going to be noise, I'm not going to spend too much time going over the engine, things like that in that episode. That said, I will have a follow-up episode that gets a little bit more technical, and then one after that that's a recap of all the costs associated with the build, because it is not cheap overall, I will say. So there's that. Mini Manshed says, hi Cole, fancy a drive of my 74 Clubman in Italy next year. It'll cost you a t-shirt. Yes, that would be awesome. If I end up making it to Italy, right now the borders are closed to U.S. citizens or people who are coming from the U.S., even though I'm an Italian citizen now. Woo! That's exciting. But yeah, as of right now, if they don't open up the borders by then, I'm not going to be able to come. So, sucks. But I will take you up on that if I do end up being able to. Mini Performance says, have you for a MPI block for a supercharged setup lying about you want to send back to its homeland? So there aren't that many MPI blocks laying around here in the US. The MPI was never sold here. So all the MPIs that are here have to be imported. So there's a big amount of work before they get to the US. I would have really, really liked an MPI block to do this whole build. It would have made my life a lot easier. But cost, ease, so many reasons not to. 998 Garage says, what's the process of fitting a front mount rad in a standard Mini MPI subframe or? So if it's a standard Mini, not an MPI body, not something that's already had a front mount radiator, it's really just all, a Lamborghini Aventador just drove past my house. I don't really live in that kind of neighborhood. Totally lost my train of thought. Front mount rad. It's largely just custom mounting brackets you have to set up. You got to decide what kind of radiator you're going to do. You know, MED sells a big front mount that goes across basically the front of the car. But those ones require some relocation of things, some spacing and clearancing. I am considering having a radiator fab that's a little bit smaller, about the same size as the MPI radiator, and then piping that into the top portion where the thermostat goes. So you have your thermostat housing on the top here, and you know the hose that comes off and goes straight into the radiator. What I'm thinking I will be doing is I'll have a pipe that'll come off of this, a silicone bend, and that'll go down to a radiator. The radiator will cool all of that coolant, and then it'll come back up and go into the main side mount radiator. So I'll actually have two radiators on my car. MPIs usually only have one set up right on the front, works perfect. But with my Mark 1, I've got this built-in shroud on the body of the car, so I can't get a wider, nicer, bigger radiator for the side mount, so I have to supplement it with a front mount radiator, specifically for the Supercharge setup that I have. I will say that most Minis shouldn't need a front mount radiator in addition to the existing side mount for like a stock engine. Christopher Mead, what radiator were you planning on using for the front mount setup? Oh, well, just answered that accidentally, I guess. It's going to be a custom fabbed one. I'm just going to have it made here in the US. It's just going to be made to a specific dimension. I'm going to show all of that installation and everything once I get it made. For right now, though, I have literally a computer processor radiator sitting up there built into the heater circuit, just as a little bit of supplementary cooling. The engine's not overheating, it's just getting a little hotter than I'd like overall. Alright, what else do you guys have for me tonight, whatever time it is where you are? Also, if anyone is in the live stream right now who hasn't subscribed to the channel, could you try subscribing real quick? I have set up a little alert that should pop up in the that corner right down there. I'm really curious if it works. 998 Garage says for a tuned 998, then I would just a front mount radiator, front mount do nicely. Then maybe make some room for a supercharger. Yeah, so I mean, you have some options with if you were to put a supercharger, say you wanted to put a root style supercharger in, like I've got on my car where it sits on the back, adding that isn't really going to impact the size of the radiator you can add. So depending on the body style of your car, I would lean more towards getting like a nice performance alloy side mount radiator, one that just replaces the existing rad, and see how your temperatures are there, because mounting a front mount is a pain in the butt, and it might not be necessary at all. Mini Performance says it's pizza time here, man. Okay, so what kind of pizza are you having? What's everyone's favorite kind of pizza? I need to get a chair with a backrest. Leaning up against my workbench isn't that comfortable. Sean Norman says, in terms of power profile or dynamics, which engine do you prefer, a 998 or a 1275? I think I would go with a 1275 in terms of the power band, based solely on how it feels, not necessarily, what's the top speed, how fast can it go 0 to 60. but the way that the power gets delivered, I prefer a 1275 because more of the power, from my experience, is lower in the power band. The 998s can be really revvy engines, which is super cool when you're like racing or want some power higher up in the RPM band. But for me, my city driving, where I'm at in terms of my driving style, the low power is better for me, which is also why I went with a supercharger, a root style supercharger over a turbocharger, because the turbocharger has that lag period, which it just doesn't suit my driving style as much. Not that I probably would love it too, so to be clear. Mini Performance says pepperoni pizza. Awesome. Nice. Corey, hey Cole, still waiting for the throttle shaft to get here. Man, that has taken some time. Did you order it from Mini Spares? Or somewhere here in North America? It's a long time. Shovel Rick Shovelhead, funny name. Working on a 1973 AU built Clubman, cool. Missing a turbo, margarita pizza. Margarita pizza. That's good. That's a good choice. Corey says, have you ever ground down the throttle shaft profile? I hear it can improve the flow a bit. I've not done that. I'm assuming you're referring to the portion where the throttle butterfly is actually going through the shaft. I'm sure it could, but I haven't done anything like that. My tuning, the deepest I got into tuning was really just getting the car dialed in with its largely stock carburetor. So, yeah. I ship Mice Elf. That's funny. Hello, hope you're well. Thanks for joining. I am doing well. I hope you're doing well. All right. I'm excited. I'm still really excited about Chris winning this. We'll have to get you in touch with Stuart here soon and get him crafting your supercharger. Oh yeah, it's Corey. So I ordered some stuff from Mini Spares. Oh, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it only just arrived last week. It took forever for it to get here. Definitely worth upgrading the shipping to DHL over the just standard post. 998 Garage says 2, 3, or 4 front fog lights. Well, I think you know the answer for me, and it's 4. 4 front fog lights. I've even considered more than that, but I need to not. Too much electrical going on up there. Sean Thompson says, hi Cole, are anti-roll bars worth buying? So I have not experienced a Mini with anti-roll bars. I have been considering picking some up and doing a how-to video on it so that I could review them as well. But I haven't pulled the trigger on that because it's a good bit of money, and I am trying to slow down a little bit because the Supercharge build was not cheap. So I am just trying to ease off on the Mini upgrades for a little while and only do stuff that I need to get the Supercharger running tip-top. But it's in the back of my mind. Mini Performance asks, how soon before driving videos of yours? So I'm going to go film some today. It's hotter than 7 hells here, so I don't know how much driving I'm going to be doing today. But my plan is to have something filmed and probably edited and uploaded by the end of this next week. Fingers crossed. Corey says, DHL loses my stuff when it gets to Canada. Takes them a week or more to get it to my house once it gets in the country. That's crazy. Yeah, DHL's been pretty reliable for the U.S. It's crazy that just over the border it gets less reliable like that. You'd think it'd be pretty on par for all of North America. Huh. So I think that I will answer a few more questions, maybe 3 or 4 more questions, and then I'm going to wrap this up so I can get to filming for the Mini so you guys can experience the sound and a little bit of what it's like to drive this new car. Well, new car. New under the hood. Mini Performance asks, do you find the Supercharger is loud whine-wise? So it's actually not that bad. There's a few things in between the Supercharger and the passenger compartment in my car. So I've got the bulkhead hole covering, and then I have some closed cell foam, and then obviously I have my dashboard as well. The whine doesn't really start to kick in until 4,000 RPM. That's when you really start to hear the whine happening. But overall, it's not that bad. The induction noise is satisfactory. I'll put it that way. It's funny, I would actually say that there's more whine from first gear with that Evo gear setup than with the Supercharger most of the time. And it can really be driven totally like non-fast and totally chill if you want to be, with really no impact. You wouldn't know it was supercharged unless you punched it. Jasper asks, where can I buy that Supercharger he just won? So I got this Supercharger. I worked with Stuart over at VMAX SCART. That's VMAXSCART. He has a website where he offers all sorts of different versions of the Supercharger. But it's, I found out I was mispronouncing it as VMAX SCART for a while. And I think his website's vmaxscart.co.uk. And so you can see all the pricing, all the different kinds. You can either use a Weber for your intake, or you can use a EFI system. I'm using an EFI system. If you go back in my videos, you can see all the different ways that it's all set up and everything. Mini Performance says, and you'll be getting a dyno session after a few running in miles. Yes, definitely. So I have been looking for a dyno so I went to a dyno here in the US. Most of them are built for larger cars or muscle cars, so they're either targeted towards rear-wheel drive cars, or they just don't fit the Mini. I can't get them up on the stands. So I finally found a place just a little south of me, just over the border in South Carolina, that can fit the Mini, and they have the capability of handling both front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, and all-wheel drive cars. So I should be able to get a good performance reading from that. Unfortunately, every dyno is a little bit different. So the power figure I got from my first dyno was just at about 70 horsepower with the 1293. So I'm just going to use that as my base number and see what we get with the Supercharger after that. And I'm thinking I'm probably going to have them top out at about 6,000 RPM or 6,500 RPM. I don't really want it to go much higher than that. Sean Thompson says, I've seen a few Minis with internally mounted gearbox linkages instead of being mounted under the Mini. Would you know if there's any gain to this? So there are a lot of setups that do this. Dave Jag, his setup, he has a Mini with this setup. From my understanding, it is very fiddly to get that set up. You do need a rod change gearbox in order to be able to set one of those up. Moves all the linkages inside, but getting those dialed in right can be really, really irritating. But aside from the way that it looks, the benefit really is just that it makes it more stable. That way, the subscriber thing worked. Cool. It makes it more stable, but aside from that, not much other benefit from my understanding. Christopher Mead says, as I'm now going fast road, what prompted fast road all of a sudden? What sort of clutch and flywheel setup do you think is best suited? May convert to a pre-verto for a wider range of choices. So, I wouldn't go lightened flywheel on a supercharged setup, not really. Moving to a steel flywheel is one thing, but lightening it, not really what you want to do with a supercharger. you can either work with Stuart directly, with VMAX directly. He builds out performance clutches that will allow you to increase that gripping power, and he crafts those start to finish himself. Since you're getting a Supercharger from him, I would probably recommend you do that with him. There is another guy that I got my clutch and set up from called Turbo Mark 1 Mini. It's Simon. He has an Instagram at Turbo Mark 1 Mini. He makes a similar clutch setup. Both of those are Verdo. So you actually have a little bit more capability with a Verdo setup in terms of biting and spring compression, and it's a little bit easier to drive. The pre-Verdo setups, to get them stronger, you get a bigger diaphragm, or stronger diaphragm, not bigger, and by upgrading that, it really increase the pressure of the clutch to throw. So I would stick with Verdo if you already have a Verdo setup, personally. I swapped to a Verdo setup for mine, just for example. Lucas says, hi all, Mini-Mans, thanks for joining. Tree says, I'm Batman. That's cool, man. Who's your favorite superhero? Sounds like yours might be Batman. I think, I don't know who my favorite is. I really like Thor. I like later Thor in the Marvel movies. Not early Thor. He was irritating. So, it looks like things are starting to slow down, so I am probably going to wrap this up. Last chance for any questions. Ooh, Deadpool's a good one. I didn't think about Deadpool. Only Ryan Reynolds Deadpool, though. Like new Ryan Reynolds Deadpool. You know what I'm talking about if you watch the Fox X-Men movies. Tree. Yeah, drunk Thor. Well, just before he got drunk. Thor Ragnarok. Not Fat Thor. Yeah, I don't know about that. Habit Stokes says 1275 or 1380. Neither. 1293 is my favorite displacement. 1310 is pretty good too. The 1380, it gives me heartburn how thin the sidewalls are of the cylinders. It's probably fine, but it just makes me uneasy. Mini performance, right mate, I'm off. I sound so stupid saying mate. Pizza's ready. Have a wonderful evening. Thanks for joining, man. Chris, I am going to send you an email here shortly, and if you want to chat on the phone, we can discuss your winnings. Congratulations again, and yeah, I will see you guys on the next video, which should be a driving video with just pure sound.